You know, when you think about cybersecurity, you probably picture building a single perfect wall to keep all the bad stuff out. But what if the real secret isn't one giant wall, but a whole bunch of smaller, smarter ones? Today, we're diving into defense in depth, a strategy that takes that very idea and turns it into a seriously powerful security architecture.
So, to get why this matters so much, let's just quickly set the scene. The digital world is, well, it's kind of packed with threats. First up, you've got malware, nasty software that can sneak onto your system from just one bad download and cause total chaos.
And then, of course, there's phishing. We've all seen these. Attackers send out these fake emails that look shockingly real, all in an attempt to trick you into just handing over your passwords or credit card info. Next, you have denial of service attacks. Now, this is just digital brute force. Imagine an attacker flooding a website with so much junk traffic that nobody legit can get through. It's basically a massive, deliberate traffic jam on the internet.
And then you get into the sneakier stuff, like an SQL injection. This is where a hacker basically talks to a website's database and tricks it into spilling, changing, or even deleting data it should never, ever be touching.
So, when you look at all these different attacks coming from all these different angles, it brings up a pretty scary question. How on earth do you defend against everything, everywhere, all at the same time? Suddenly, that one perfect wall, it just seems impossible, right?
And the answer is actually really elegant. You don't build one wall, you build many. This is the whole idea behind defense in depth. It's a strategy that uses multiple overlapping security layers. You should really think of it like an onion. If an attacker manages to peel back one layer, guess what? There's another one waiting right underneath.
So today, that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to peel back this onion layer by layer. We'll kick things off with the overall strategy, then we'll move to guarding the network itself, securing the apps inside, protecting the data at the very heart of it all, and finally, we'll talk about why this is a job that's never really done.
Okay, let's start with that big picture, the onion defense. What does this whole layered thing actually look like when you put it into practice?
The layers really do build from the outside in. I mean, it starts with physical security, literally locking the door to the room with the computers. From there, you move out to the network's edge. Then you zoom in on the apps running on your devices until you finally get to the very center, the data itself. That's your last stand.
All right, let's dig into that first major defensive layer, guarding the network gates. The whole point here is to stop threats way out on the perimeter, before they can even get a sniff of your important systems.
And the classic gatekeeper here has got to be the firewall. Think of it like a digital bouncer, standing at the door between your private network and the wild west of the open internet. Its entire job is to check the ID of every single piece of data coming or going and decide who gets in and who gets thrown out.
So a firewall is doing a few things at once. It's working off a blacklist, blocking anything known to be malicious. It's also got a whitelist, only letting in traffic from sources you've pre-approved. And because it's filtering so much traffic, it can actually help fight off those massive denial of service attacks we were just talking about.
But what if an attacker does find a way past the firewall? Well, that brings us to the next layer of our onion, securing the actual applications. Because let's be honest, that's where all the important stuff happens anyway.
See, applications have their own unique set of problems. An SQL injection, for example, that's an attack on the back end. The hacker is trying to fool the company's database. But a cross-site scripting attack? That's totally different. It's an attack on you, the user. It injects malicious code that runs in your browser, trying to steal your login or other info.
So, to defend against these specific threats, we add another specialized layer, a web application firewall, or a WAF. This is a perfect example of defense in depth in action. Your main firewall might not get the nuances of web traffic, but a WAF does. It's trained to spot and block nasty stuff like an SQL injection before it even has a chance to hit the application.
Okay, let's imagine the worst has happened. An attacker somehow got past the network firewall and the application firewall. They're inside. This brings us right to the center of the onion, the final, and I mean the most critical layer of all, protecting the data itself. And here's the absolute key. Even if every other defense fails, the game is not over. If an attacker gets to the data, but it's just a bunch of unreadable gibberish, then the attack has failed. This is why things like encryption and strong passwords aren't just suggestions. They are the final, absolute wall of defense.
Now, when we say unreadable, we're talking about encryption. And there are two main flavors. Symmetric encryption uses one single shared key to both lock and unlock the data. It's super fast. Asymmetric is a bit different. It uses a public key to lock the data, but a separate private key to unlock it, which is way more secure for sending things back and forth. And of course, passwords. They're literally the keys to the digital kingdom. To make yours really tough to crack, just focus on these things. Length is your best friend. Seriously, aim for at least 12 characters. Then add complexity. Mix in uppercase, lowercase, numbers, and symbols. And finally, just avoid the obvious. No dictionary words, no personal info. That's the first stuff attackers try. So now that we've peeled back the entire onion, let's zoom out for what is maybe the most important idea of all. Security isn't a thing you buy or a box you check off a list. It's a process. It's something you do constantly.
This quote just says it all. What is secure today may be completely insecure tomorrow. Think about it. New vulnerabilities and new attack methods are discovered literally every single day. That means our defenses have to evolve right along with them.
And that right there is why defense in depth is so brilliant. No single defense is ever going to be perfect, but by layering them, you force an attacker to get past a firewall, then a WAF, then crack encryption. Every single layer slows them down, and, just as important, it gives you another chance to spot them before they get to the good stuff.
So, I'll leave you with this to think about. In a world where the threats are always changing, is the real goal to build a fortress that can never ever be broken into? Or is it to build a system that's incredibly resilient, one that can take a punch, spot the attack, and bounce back fast?